guys, it's Kelly from Cards by Christine here with you on a Technique Thursday to share with you the rolling hills and mountains torn tearing technique. No, I don't know. Let's see. The torn hills technique. That's what we'll go with. So here's the card we're gonna make today. It's kind of like a landscape card with torn hills and mountains in the background using the really cool hat dies and some trees from Mountain Air. So I gathered a variety of different colors, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I wanted to have the trees and shaded spruce until I pulled the wrong color. And they look fine the way they are. I love all the greens and blues that are pulled in on this card. So let's see here. Trying to get myself organized. The first thing I did was I started with a basic white mat. It's at 4 by 5 1/4, and then I pulled scraps of the colors I wanted. So the sky is Pacific Point. The next layer is balmy blue with basic white, soft seafoam, just jade, and then granny apple green. So I'm going to start by gluing down the straight piece of Pacific Point. Now each of these are more than 4 inches long because I wanted to be able to hang them off the edge and cut them all at the same time so that they're all the same length. So got that glued down. Then I'm going to take my balmy blue scrap and tear it. Now I've done a bunch of different tearing technique videos before, but the gist of tearing is pull from the top down, and the more you weave back and forth, the more texture you get in your tear. So that looks pretty good to me. And I'm gonna go through and tear each of my pieces, getting different variations in the tear. That one I tore a little straighter. I'm not gonna glue any of them down yet because based on how each of them tear and how the different texture is, will determine how much room it needs. I wish I would have had a little bit more granny apple green showing on my sample card. So we'll see if I can make that happen. So the just jade kind of threw a little bit of I like how this one had like a mountainy peak on it. Didn't quite get that same look on this one, but that's okay. All right, and then this. So I want to move these pieces so that I can start gluing them. Now, the Pacific Point is glued down, and that's the top of the card. So as we layer, we're layering down from the top. So we'll bring in our soft seafoam next. All right, now I like the edge over here. So we'll make the glue put it there. And then let's see here, if we heading until about there. I don't want a super gluey mess, so I don't want to put glue just randomly everywhere. But in the end, it tends to be a mess anyway. So I'm gonna let that sit and kind of dry a little bit before I spend too much effort to cut it, because I don't want it kind of shifting as I cut it. So we'll let that dry for a second. Then I cut out 2 evergreen trees in garden green. I do think it might have looked a little better in shaded spruce. That was my bad on that. I was going to, and then I went and grabbed the wrong color. But you know what? Still looks good. Still goes with the green theme. Then I have a Misty Moonlight hat, a basic gray badge, and an early espresso bison on the hat. And I did what's called a rat's nest. Craziness with the baker's twine. And how I did that was I'm gonna grab the end between my thumb and pointer finger, and then I wrapped around my 3 fingers, and then I tucked it under my thumb, and then the next one I went around my pinky, then I did another one around my 3 fingers, and another one around my pinky, and then I cut the edge off, and then I grabbed some dimensionals. Let's see here. Nope. Did tearing tape in the back. So let's see here. Did 2 strips of tearing tape. I should have put the tearing tape down before I started my rat's nest on my finger, because it's hard to tearing tape when you have ribbon on your fingers. Okay, so I did 2 things of tearing tape right there. Then I'm gonna peel it. Oh man. Okay, then I'm gonna peel the wax paper off. Okay, then I'm going to take my rat's nest off my fingers and kind of just space them out a little bit. And then place it so that you can see some above the brim of the hat and some below. Okay, so I like how that turned out. Kind of see it a little better there maybe. Then I can get myself prepped by putting dimensionals on the back of the hat, and one small one fits perfectly on the brim of the hat. So that's ready for whenever I'm ready to put it down. And I'm going to actually put one more piece of tearing tape on top and not peel the waxy paper off for my sandwich. Okay, so that's that. Now I would think this is pretty well adhered. Okay, I'm gonna take my paper scissors and trim this down. Okay. And then I'm gonna cut this on the guillotine cutter. Or you could use your paper cutter or your scissors, whatever works best. It is a lot of layers of paper, so just know that when you're cutting. And I actually had a piece of paper stuck to my blade, so that didn't help. Okay, and then trim all the edges. I've done techniques somewhat like this before, or cards somewhat like this before, and when you don't have them glued onto a mat, it's hard to get that nice straight line on your edges. So I've kind of learned throughout my card making career that this is the best way to do, because then you've got that nice straight crisp line. Works so much better. Okay, so then I went ahead and glued down the trees. Just put a little glue on. See that one about there. I missed the top. Okay, one more tree. Put that one a little higher. These trees weren't my friend today. I had a little trouble getting them cut out, but that's okay. Oh, and now I'm having trouble getting it to stick. I think I have too much glue on my finger because it's sticking pretty well to my finger. Okay, so then I took my hat and put it on over the trees. Oh, I just really love how this is turning out. And then last but certainly not least, I got this far and then didn't know what I should do with the sentiment and what sentiment I should use. Because fun fact, so far we've only used the hat dies, we haven't used the stamp set that coordinates with it. So, one second, I gotta grab a block. I love the recent Paper Pumpkin where it was something about explore and adventure, something like that. And there were so many great sentiments in here, especially that would fit the theme of this card. So we've got let your light shine, the world awaits you, let the adventure begin, explore, and congrats. So even though you can't buy this set, if you're a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you have it. And I just stamped the Explore in Early Espresso down in the corner. If you are a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you have it. And that's one really awesome thing about the Paper Pumpkin kits, is that you really get an exclusive stamp set. So I'm sorry if you really like these sentiments. I'm sorry. So the refill kit for that Paper Pumpkin, I just noticed, is available, and I snatched up a couple because I so loved how that kit turned out. And I have the stamp set and the ink that came with it because I subscribed to it. Now, the thing with Paper Pumpkin is you don't know what you're gonna get, so it's a little bit of a gamble. But over the years, they have done a great job, and they've really elevated the design, the look, the aesthetics, the output. It's always a really, really good kit. I'm very rarely disappointed with what I get. So Paper Pumpkin is one of my favorite things from Stampin' Up, and it's just a little bit of happy mail every month. It shows up straight to your door, and you get to make some beautiful cards. Sometimes it's containers or treat boxes, like this next one I think is a treat box. It's for Halloween, and it's gonna be super cute. I'm really excited for it. But yeah, I guess that's my little plug on Paper Pumpkin because I love it, and I think you would too. So that's my card. What do you think? Do you like the technique? Do you like tearing? I'm kind of in a little bit of a tearing kick, so I just really like how it looks. I saw an inspiration card that was like this. I also saw one that had more of the oranges and yellows in the background to make more of like a desert looking scene. It was so cool. So I challenge you to try out this technique, maybe make a card of your own, and please share. We love when you share your creations that we've inspired you to make. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you catch Chris tonight. She'll be making cards with you live. So have a nice